see Nick Lee making his rec hall debut. Lee ranked 8th, and he'll have some tough competition in Nate Limmex, ranked 17th.
Nate Limmex, one of those guys we talked about earlier with the upset. He had upset last week against Nebraska, and their 141 wrestler ranked number 9. He a great match there, and so definitely has the ability to give Nick Lee a run for his money here in his rec hall debut.
Nick Lee, similar to Mark Hall last year after a successful Southern Scuffler performance. The red shirt pulled and inserted into the lineup. Lee, the runner-up at 141 pounds. And he's already got 2 nice wins under his belt here at 141 in dual competition. Namely, as we mentioned in the open, a 16-1 tech fall win over Javier Gasca of Michigan State.
Yeah, and mentioned that he was a runner-up. Gasca was in the Big Ten tournament last year, so great competition there, a nationally ranked wrestler going into that. And he showed great poise being on the road there in one of his first dual matches, so good competition there for Nick Lee.
2 for Nick Lee, and Nate Limmex not afraid of tough competition either. A 5-3 upset win over number 9 Chad Redd of Nebraska.
Nick Lee trying to get the bar in there now. His wrist control going to start walking it around.
And for Nick Lee, it was 3 years of high school before he was homeschooled in that final year just last year, 1 year ago, to work on his freestyle wrestling. And now we can see some of that really starting to pay off. He could focus and hone in on his wrestling. Trying to go for a turn here early on, about midway through the first period, and potentially dangerous.
Yeah, that's one you'll see there with the arm bar. If you don't start to work it around and get it in an awkward position from when you first set it in, definitely one that the refs look out for immediately as soon as you go to set it in.
It's a 2-0 lead for Nick Lee, riding time at 45 seconds. And now neutral, 2-1 lead for Lee.
Limmex doing a nice job there, sitting out right off the bat and being able to get the escape there, breaking the control from Nick Lee, but a good job, basic move there, just sitting out and being able to get up and get out.
Nick Lee trying to go heavy on the necks and on the wrists as well.
Very similar to Keener was with those guys, a little more active here, but very heavy on the neck, trying to get in, weigh each other down, snap down, and try to go for the single leg or double leg there. But the snap down is very important, get them off guard a little bit and get in on the legs. And
a stalemate, they'll return center with just under 43 seconds left to wrestle in this first period.
You can see why Nick Lee had that 16-1 win in Michigan State. Very aggressive wrestler, constant movement. That's something that you see from wrestlers sometimes. You know, they get on the heels a little bit. Saw that from Corey Keener in that last match. Get on the heels a little bit. You know, if there's a takedown, some guy starts shooting a little more, but he's very aggressive and gets out and tries to, attack his opponent.
Nate Limmex down wrestling at 141, and last season wrestled in 13 of 16 duels at 149. Lee here working it on the legs, trying to get 2 hands, short time, and now he gets 2. A 4-1 lead for Nick Lee in riding time, up over 50 seconds here in the first period.
Nice going low there on the ankle, getting the ankle pick, single leg up, pull around the leg and get behind him. Really quick, nice, fundamentally sound takedown.
Lee will start down here in the second, and I have a feeling we can only expect more offense from the young Nick Lee, the true freshman.
Absolutely see him try to get up as quick as possible here and get right back out to take down someone that likes to be in the up position, maybe try a little sit out there similar to what Limmex did, but likes to be in the neutral position and go after his opponent. See Limmex there trying to put the legs in so that way Nick Lee can't get up, get the boots in, and break him down a little bit. Good job there of Nick Lee, moving his legs around, and again, being very mobile is something important. Obviously, it makes sense there, but movement is key. Can't be stagnant.
Lee turns into 2 more for the reversal, 6-1. Nick Lee on top of Nate Limmex, the redshirt sophomore.
Nice reversal there. You saw it start with the sit out and slowly worked it out, was able to get up and get around.
Stall here called on Limmex. And still a minute left in this second period, and riding time up over a minute for Nick Lee now.
So you're going to let him up here, and we talked about being offensive. Going to go after him again and get more points.
Lee looking for another shot. Limmex, though, low on the single. And early on here tonight, through these first two bouts, we've seen some offense from Purdue. The aggression is there. They just haven't been able to finish off the takedowns.
Yeah, and that's something to talk about in the open. You know, Penn State's got to be patient. These guys are going to come out and be hungry and try to get that upset win. This is a prime example right here. Limmex is someone who needs to win his match early on to try to build on this lead that they have here early on. So this is a very important match for Purdue.
Scramble now, and Lee turns it into two more. He's made the most of those situations through the first two periods here. Whenever it's been a scramble, we've seen Nick Lee come out with 2 points.
Absolutely, and that's a mark of a great wrestler. Someone's in a tough position there. Limmex had his knee, almost a potentially dangerous move there. You saw the knee start to twist, but Nick Lee slowly working around, getting back to the hip, and being able to pull a reversal there and get the 2 points.
An 8-2 lead for Lee here at the start of the third period. Riding time up over 1 minute and 15 seconds for the true freshman.
That's a big thing with Penn State wrestlers you've seen. Because they're so good, they get that riding time. So for the majority of these guys, it's almost a given that they're going to have an extra point, and that was big for Mark Hall last week against Miles Amene. He won 6-5 because of that riding time.
Limmex out and cuts the lead to just 5 for Nick Lee, who I'm sure is looking for that major decision, some kind of bonus points here early on.
Got to cut into that lead to start off with that forfeit. Got to be able to reel it back in, and a major decision will be big here.
Another stalemate here, and they'll return center with 1:25 left to wrestle in this third period. Riding time in 1 minute and 35 seconds for Nick Lee.
I really like how both of these guys have been extremely aggressive going in. Limmex even a little more takedowns here, and this guy's been able to get that leg in, but Nick Lee keeps turning it, and a prime example of good defense there.
And again, you said it, Lee fought off the shot, turned it into 2 for himself.
Sign of a good wrestler there, someone who can take adversity, someone who's going to attack and be able to turn it for themselves.
Lee, high crotch, fended off by Limmex. In the final 50 seconds here of the third period, a 10-4 lead for Nick Lee.
Sloppy shot there, barely just went in and put his hand in there a little bit, and Nick Lee was able to take advantage and get the 2 points.
Riding time secured, nearly a minute for Nick Lee, so essentially a 13-4 lead. In the final 30 seconds of this third period, and Nate Limmex is just exhausted.
Yeah, and you know, being that aggressive guy, you know, is only going to take the shots. If you don't get the points, it ends up hurting you in the end, because you get in a situation like this where you're getting your head buried. You need to get out and get points quick, but you can't just because you're just so exhausted from someone like Lee, who loves to press and constantly turn things against you and take all that aggression and turn it for himself.
After starting down 6-0, Penn State now will take the lead with 2 wins, a decision from Corey Keener, and Nick Lee with the major decision. Penn State leads it now 7-6.
Absolutely great wrestling there from Nick Lee, showing the promise that this freshman has here in front of the Rec Hall crowd, giving him a nice ovation here. A lot to come from the young wrestler.